Reaction to some Fortnite. Let's get into it, y'all.
The world of Fortnite is one of the craziest things in gaming right now. The island has seen a number of insane things happen to it, like an asteroid crashing into the map, a volcano erupting, a missile creating a rift that made a cube, that made an island, that made it, you get it. It's pretty crazy. But the thing that has everyone talking right now is the Polar Peak iceberg. There's an eyeball poking through the cracks of the iceberg, and it's watching your every move. Absolutely no one knows for certain what the eyeball belongs to, but there are a few running theories.
That's creepy.
But first, we're going to talk facts. We've seen a big emergence of LTMs in Fortnite's world, with crossovers in specific being especially common as of recent. In April, we had the Avengers Endgame LTM, which allowed players to become their favorite Avenger and battle Thanos for the Infinity Stones. In May, we saw two crossovers, which were the John Wick LTM and the Michael Jordan LTM. Now, one of the main side theories for the eyeball's source is that, well, it's suspected to belong to a monster from the upcoming film Godzilla, King of the Monsters. In the film, the two main beasts are Godzilla and King Ghidorah. The eyeball could belong to either of them, or none of them. We've searched a ton of evidence that points in either direction, and you can let us know what you think down in the comment section below. Here's the evidence. If you look in Season 9's Battle Pass and go to Tier 50, you'll be able to spot a banner, which is a dinosaur. Usually, in Battle Passes in the past, Epic Games have teased parts of the season inside banners and loading screens. It's no shock that we're seeing hints to dinosaurs or lizards, and the banner looks a lot like Godzilla, but not really identical. Now, if we want to go into things that are identical, let's look around the map of Fortnite itself. In-game, you can actually spot footprints left around multiple locations that show a resemblance to the footsteps found in the actual Godzilla movies. The footprints were pretty much identical, but they've been in the map for a while. Maybe Epic Games did an original homage to Godzilla, but now they're getting an LTM with the film seasons later. Think about all that cash. Think about all those V-Bucks. That's a lot of V-Bucks. I mean, if you go and watch the trailers for Godzilla, King of the Monsters, there are a few shots that show King Ghidorah, Godzilla's enemy, trapped inside a block of ice. Also, the silhouette...
Bro. Bro. Godzilla got some problems with that monster. For real. That's an enemy right there.
Of Ghidorah inside this block of ice looks scarily similar to the silhouette of the Fortnite eggs in the volcano. And of course, Polar Peak. The similarities between Ghidorah being trapped in ice and also the monster at Polar Peak being trapped inside the iceberg are very coincidental if they're not hinting at an upcoming Godzilla crossover. It's especially damning when you compare the eyes of both King Ghidorah and the eyeball in Polar. When you think about the dragon eggs that were in the volcano and Polar Peak, you get to consider that those are two very interesting places to have put the eggs. Now, if you watch the trailer, there's also a shot of King Ghidorah emerging from a volcano. There are two ways here that Ghidorah could show up, and it's either the iceberg or the volcano. If you think about it, there must be a reason that Epic Games have decided to keep both the volcano and Polar Peak in Season 9. They could have gotten rid of both locations by now, but they are keeping them for a reason. Is it to have multiple monsters battle like in the movie? We'll have to see. But going back to the earlier crossover LTMs, we have the Michael Jordan Creative LTM, which has challenges that can give you skateboard backbling variants. And guess what? One of these variants is a giant dinosaur attacking a city with tanks shooting at it. If that isn't a Godzilla nod, then what even is at this point? I mean, just recently, there have been sound files that have a monster screeching and roaring that have leaked data miners, and they sound quite similar to the ones from Godzilla. Now, a real kicker that is both a very interesting point and a damning coincidence is that PUBG Mobile recently announced a crossover event with none other than Godzilla, King of the Monsters. But PUBG is a different battle royale game, and yes, that is a considerable point. But PUBG Mobile is the game that is crossing over with Godzilla. Not the regular game, but the mobile version. Well, guess who publishes and has the rights to the mobile game? Tencent, the company that holds a massive stake in Epic Games. And it's possible that Godzilla's production studio could have teamed up with Tencent rather than Epic Games for an advertising campaign on their games. It's not as far-fetched as you may initially think. Basically, all the evidence involves a ton of insane coincidences that if it turns out that Godzilla was never planned, it might as well just be plagiarism at this point. We're basically presenting the evidence to the table that Godzilla or King Ghidorah could indeed be coming to Fortnite in a...
That's a cool map. What do y'all think of that map? That's cool, ain't it?
crossover, and our personal theory is that we might have a boss battle with whatever monster comes out of that iceberg. The files belonging to the eyeball are under an enemy folder in the Fortnite files, which means we could get a boss battle similar to the Storm King one from Save the World, in which players who defeated the king could get sent a real-life pin. Maybe the Storm King was a test run for a boss battle, and players hitting the runes to the Loot Lake Vault was a test run for damage across all servers, but I'm super excited if that's what's going to happen. However, when it's all said and done, none of the evidence is 100%. Oh yeah, Godzilla is coming to Fortnite, but it's enough to make you think that it is...
Bro, I love that freaking bow. Bro, I love that weapon. That bow, man. Oh my god, I love that weapon.
quite a possibility with a ton of coincidence, considering the film coming out this week as well, and what great...
You know who gets off with that weapon? Ninja. Have y'all seen him use that? Oh my god.
timing for Fortnite to introduce a monster for the exact same week as the film's release. I mean, come on. Either way, it's hard to say that it's certain that Godzilla is getting a crossover, especially with other theories such as the main storyline of Fortnite having dragon and dinosaur eggs in both the volcano and polar peak, and that the monster is just a generic one. In all likelihood, that's probably what might happen, but we've presented the evidence to you that Godzilla might be coming to Fortnite, and it's up to you to decide what you think. Of course, we'll know the end result when the monster actually leaves the iceberg and we see what happens with the event once and for all. Until then, what's the harm in speculating? So given all the sound files, hatching eggs, lore behind the Ice King, and what we found under the map, the loading screens, the skins, the files, the Battle Pass Easter eggs, basically everything that hints at either dragons, lizards, dinosaurs, or potentially even the Kraken. I mean, right now, there's a Kraken pickaxe in the item shop. If you take a look at the old...
That's a dope weapon. That's a dope weapon.
Fortnite map, there's an X on the map that could indicate there being some kind of kraken, and the sounds that are made by this eyeball are kind of like a squeal. They're not necessarily like a roar or even like a monster groan or anything along those lines, but it's very specifically a squeal. So that begs the question, could it be a kraken? But what do you think Epic Games have in store for us? Godzilla is a lizard, King Ghidorah is a dragon, and they're enemies. So are we going to have some kind of versus LTM? There are possibilities left, right, and center. And if you look at the size of either of those monsters' eyeballs, you'll see how tiny the eyes are compared to the rest of the actual body and face and everything else. So imagine how big Godzilla or King Ghidorah would actually have to be in order to have eyes the size of what appears in the polar peak iceberg. Now, if we're going to theorize what the monster is, we might as well try to speculate what it will do. There are a few running theories with no evidence, as it's hard to come across evidence of what exactly will happen in an event that hasn't happened yet. However, some interesting theories include having a dragon coming out of the iceberg and flying around the map before landing in the middle and having players across all Battle Royale servers working together to fight it. Fans of MMOs such as Adventure Quest or World of Warcraft will be familiar with multiple players working together to kill a single enemy. In fact, that concept is one of the main focuses of a brand new game which is published by Epic Games titled Dauntless. You might have heard of it. It's a new free-to-play game which pits parties of 4 players against gigantic beasts and you must work together to kill them. And the game is published by the Fortnite developers. How big of a coincidence can this all become? So either the monster could be placed in the middle of the map for players to fight, or it could be placed more as a point of interest on the map with not much HP, but that'd suck and be a pretty underwhelming event. Or even worse, the dragon monster thing might just break free of the iceberg in a cutscene, kind of similarly to what we saw with the Ice King event, which was kind of a letdown, to be completely honest with you. But if it was a cutscene, there are possibilities of the dragon escaping Polar Peak and then breathing fire on the frozen lake, making it melt and bringing back Greasy Grove or other parts of the map. That's if the lake isn't smashed by Polar Peak's iceberg collapsing in the first place. Another theory is that we'll actually see a kraken, like I said earlier, instead of a dragon or lizard, and that's because on the day that the eyeball appeared, we got the Leviathan back in the item shop with his squid pickaxe. Now, the squid pickaxe looks exactly like the kraken we see in Season 8's treasure map trailer, and guess what we didn't see in Season 8 out of all of those things on the map? That's right, a kraken. One of the longest running theories in Fortnite's history has been the upcoming existence of a Leviathan LTM. This LTM, if for real, has a ton of hints toward it, which initially appeared during Season 4 when the huge footprints, which we covered earlier, begun appearing, along with secret coordinates appearing in audio files, which led to these footprints. Back in Season 4, a Reddit post from an apparent Epic Games employee leaked a lot of details about the end of Season 4 and the beginning of Season 5, and almost every single detail came true, except for one, the Leviathan LTM. The Epic Games employee said this LTM would be a 50v50, but one person in one team will control the big Leviathan, and the team with the Leviathan have to escort him to Wailing Woods or Greasy Grove. The other team has to take it down before it's too late. There's infinite lives in the game mode, but no building. It's one of the strongest rumors out there, and yet we have not seen a shred of this LTM ever since the post. So are we finally going to see it? If you couldn't tell already, we're literally throwing ideas around because there are just so many crazy possibilities, all of which have an equal chance of happening, to be completely honest. If we really wanted to be fair with bringing every single idea to the table, then let's cover some really crazy theories which are sort of floating about on social media, so brace yourself. They're really far-fetched, but nothing is impossible, I guess. So one theory speculates that this is teasing an LTM. Wait for it, inspired by How to Train Your Dragon. I mean, they've done planes in the past, so what's stopping us from getting miniature dragons that are actual vehicles in the game? If you think about it, there are multiple dragon eggs scattered all across the map. Maybe it's teasing multiple monsters being...
Well, that wouldn't be hard to imagine. I don't think that's such a reach, to be honest.
and usable as vehicles. We could maybe get how to train your dragon skins or cosmetics or challenges. Or we could get a dragon LTM that isn't inspired by a film or TV show, but pits a 50v50 mode with one half being dragon riders and the other being forces of the Ice King to fit in with the Fortnite's lore. Could possibly make a mode that's similar to real-life jousting on dragons, which is really cool, using weapons to knock players off of their dragons, and the other players try to eliminate the Ice King's forces with fire-breathing vehicles. All of these different possibilities, and honestly, I think that would be an insane game mode. Nothing is impossible, but yeah, that's one of the really out there theories that exist. But it wouldn't be fair if we didn't include every single possibility with the eyeball and what it could mean for the future of Fortnite. So as we've discussed and gone through all the evidence for every single thing that could happen once this monster or lizard or kraken or leviathan breaks free from the Polar Peak iceberg, we have no way of knowing what will happen for sure until the actual event happens. I mean, they might be dropping something the day that this video is being posted, because this video is actually going to go up tomorrow, which you don't know about because it's today when you're watching this. So until then, we'd like to know what you think of all of these crazy theories and which one is the most logical or believable. There's so much confliction, so many different ideas, so many different routes that they could take, and I am just super, super excited to see how it all goes down. I'm hoping it's not just the cinematic cutscene, but I implore you, top 5 gamers, what's inside Polar Pete? It's a goose. Like, you ever see Liar Liar with Jim Carrey? Love that guy. Today we've got...
Bruh, I did not mean to do that. Anyway, y'all, that's it for this one now. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some. Hope you enjoyed the video, first of all, and don't forget to subscribe. You can stick around for longer if you want. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw some gameplay of myself playing one of my first gameplays of Fortnite, when my first time dabbling into the game. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe. See ya. I'm only at 15%. That's what I like. It's dark now. I think that's Viper. Uh, Ooh, hold on. I got somebody. Hey, y'all. I got a question for y'all. Yes or no? Kim Kardashian. Is she fine? In terms of looks, would you wife her? Simple question. I want to know. Let me know. Look, let me switch my sniper. What am I doing? Y'all saw that, right? Hey man, I'm new to this game too, so that's a very highly successful thing for me. 2 kills with a sniper, bro. But yeah, let me know, y'all. Would y'all wife Kim Kardashian in terms of looks? How y'all feeling about that? Ah, damn! I think he knew I was aiming for him. Damn. Woo. Damn. Oh my. Who is throwing that, bro? Oh, come on, Sniping. Bro, it didn't fire when I said for it to fire. I don't know what the hell happened. She, bro, she moving a lot. Really? I didn't get that? Bro, get me off this thing. Bro, like I said, I'm new to this game. I was not trying to get on this thing. How the hell do I get off? Bro, get me off of this thing. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was easy. Dude AFK. Guess he didn't see me at all. Damn, we building a whole bunch of walls. They not playing. My team not playing. I'm mad at him.